What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the DFS Picks and Prediction Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time where me, Weezy, Monk, and Gordo break down the upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio so you not miss out on all the other content throughout the week. And as always, we're going to go through back and forth with the four of us. We're going to be talking our fights to target, our fight to fade, our fighter to fade, favorite dog. We are going to talk our favorite GBP player. We're going to do something new. We're going to add a mini prize pick section as well. So we'll talk about that mid-show. Other than that, cash play, value play, all the regular things dart throw here. We'll give our quick picks. We will go over the lineups for last week. We'll give our lineups for this week. And yeah, should be a fun show here for UFC San Diego. So I'll kick it to you, Easy, first. What is up? Are you looking forward to this card?
It's an interesting card for sure, man. When we got two fights that I was looking forward to last week that got put on this card, and I think are going to save this card, but there's a lot of real interesting stylistic matchups on this one for sure. And the salaries, there's a lot of value out there this week too. So I can't wait to chop it up with you guys and see if we're all on the same page here.
Yep, I'm always excited to talk with you guys. Monk, what is up? How you doing? You looking forward to the card?
What is up, boys? Good to be back, holding it down last week. I appreciate you doing that in my absence. You know how it is. Sometimes you just get a headache so bad you can't join the boys for the podcast, but it's all good. Looking forward to this one. I'm glad to see where the UFC's going in general. More steroids per fighter, per card than any other promotion is what we're trying to get to. So I'm glad they're slowly dialing it up each and every card. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, but yeah, Monk, glad you are feeling better. Glad the headache is gone. I know exactly how you feel. I got a big headache taping Cynthia Calvillo versus Nina Nunes. But Gordo, what is up? How you doing? You looking forward to the card this weekend?
Yeah, I am. It's actually one of those ones that I'm gaining some decent interest in. And I love my girl, Lupita Godinez. There's some fun fights that should be finishing here. And overall, a pretty entertaining main event as well. Nothing more I got to say. Let's just break down some fights and make some money.
All right, guys, let's do it. If you guys are in the chat, be sure to leave a like. And any questions, just ask them throughout the show. We will answer all of them after we get through everything here. So as always, we are going to start with the fight to target. And I will kick this one off because my fight to target is the same fight I had last week. It's going to be Josh Quinlan going against Jason Witt. Minus 190 fight doesn't go to decision. Last week, it seemed like it was a lot wider than that. But the thing about this fight is we do not have salaries for it yet. So I'm curious to see where they do put them, but I think both guys have paths to scoring huge here. I think if Josh Quinlan wins, it's going to be by knockout. Jason Witt's been finished 8 times. Josh Quinlan obviously has a ton of power. He's a cheater, and it would not shock me if he knocked out Jason Witt. On the flip side, if Jason Witt is able to win and implement his game plan, you can expect a ton of takedowns, a ton of control time. I think the winner scores really well here, so I'm curious to see where they do put these guys in salary-wise, but I think this is a very good fight to target here. Weezy, what is your favorite fight to target for UFC San Diego?
Yeah, what I did was got real lazy and left the exact same paragraph from last week, and then fucking Brady beats me to it. Come on, man! I got Witt Quinlan here. I mean, there's a lot of good fights to target, really. I mean, like there's for instance, the Silva Meerschaert fight. This one that we're talking about right now. There's a lot of high-scoring favorites potentially here, even the Onama Landwehr fight. But in my opinion, this Witt Quinlan is really compelling because it feels like there's really not more than 2 ways it could go. Either Witt has success wrestling and is able to score takedowns in all 3 rounds and pile up a bunch of control time and win a decision, in which case you're getting an underdog fighter who's probably going to score close to 100 points with that kind of a game plan. Or with Witt's lack of durability and Quinlan's power and that steroid power just juicing through his veins, he can easily land a knockout here. And it could be one of those real special steroid knockouts where somebody gets stretchered out of the cage. So either way this fight goes, I think whoever wins it probably scores a lot of points here.
There we go. So me and Weezy, on the same page there. We both had the same thing as last week. So great minds think alike. Monk, what is your favorite fight to target for this card?
If you guys are, Weezy's in my age bracket. I can't speak so much for the other two, but every time I hear the word steroids, I think of those old school after school specials where guys are just punching the wall like, oh, true roid rage. You know what I mean? It just makes me laugh so freaking hard. But we'll go with someone that's probably taken steroids in the past. Bruno Silva going against Gerald Meerschaert. Weezy brought it up earlier.
Not probably.
Yeah, yeah, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, allegedly. But yeah, 9,000 and 7,200. These two salaries are fantastic to play for DraftKings. This is like gonna go one of two ways. Bruno Silva's gonna knock Meerschaert the hell out pretty quickly, as he has done in the past with other opponents making the optimal lineup 2 out of his previous 4 fights. Or Meerschaert's gonna sub Bruno Silva because Silva's been subbed 5 times in his pro career, not yet in the UFC, but he's going against Gerald freaking Meerschaert, and at 7,200, that salary makes optimal 3 out of 4 wins, and Meerschaert has made the optimal in 2 out of his past 4. These guys, total 50% optimal in their past 4 fights. So give me this one. I think it's going to be, end in violence, as they say, inside the distance, and whoever wins is not only going to pay off their salary, but, has a great chance of making the optimal lineup here.
Absolutely. Definitely a very good fight to target there. Gordo, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target for this week?
I love those both. Those are my top 2. Let's go one. Actually, I'm loving this one as well. Gabriel Benitez, Charlie Ontiveros. I think this is a really fun fight. And, minus 350 fight not to go the distance is kind of how a lot of people see it going down. But I mean, we just look at the average defense ability, how much points they let up on DraftKings per minute, 3.7 and 7.29. That is some tough scores to look at. I mean, they give up a lot of points here. And I do think this is one that the loser is going to give up a lot of points as well. You have a guy in Gabriel Benitez, fantastic striker, but he has been knocked out in the past. And I think that he's getting himself another fantastic striker in Charlie Ontiveros. The difference is Ontiveros leaves a lot to be desired, to put it nicely. I think he's got some defensive liabilities. I think he's been finished every single way in the book. And I think it's a spot where they're going to trade, they're going to swing, and both guys have power to the point where someone's to be put down. Multiple knockout losses on their record, and I think one of them is added right here. I don't mind that one at the most expensive, but also the cheapest salary on the slate.
There we go. Yeah, I think somebody is getting knocked out, and probably in the very first round. Great fight to target there. Let us move on to our fight to fade, and there's just one that's sticking out like a sore thumb here, and it's going to be Cynthia Calvillo going against Nina Nunes. It's plus 170. Fight doesn't get the decision. I mean, I just don't really want to put either fighter into my lineup. Obviously, Cynthia Calvillo, I would be more intrigued to play her because she does have some takedown upside potentially. Nina Nunes, if she does win, it probably does not score well. But yeah, really outside of that fight, there wasn't really one I was looking to really fade. So I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts on your fight to fade, but it's just so clear. I mean, I'm not going to be playing much of this fight, if any at all. So yeah, Cynthia Calvillo, Nina Nunes, pretty easy fade for me. Gordo, what fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I have to agree on that one. It's a pretty easy one. Let's go a bit different. I want to give you guys some more options out here, but I'm kind of fading a bit of the Azamat versus Clark fight. I think this is one where I'm leaning more towards a dog and Clark, but I do think that his path to victory doesn't necessarily score that well either. I think that it could very easily be a Clark decision at the spot. But with that being said, I despite me having less ownership than other fights I really want to target, Azamat definitely has knockout potential here too. So it's one where I'm targeting it less than everybody else, but I'm definitely fading Calvillo Nunes just as much as you are.
Sounds good to me. And Monk, how about you? What is your favorite fight to fade?
I will get a little different here and give you Youssef Zalal against Damone Blackshear, strictly because I don't know much about Blackshear. He has no UFC fights. Obviously, he is 12-4 professionally. All 4 losses coming by way of decision. The rest have either been decisions or submissions, basically. Mostly submission wins. Youssef Zalal, on the other side, his DraftKings defense is very good, allowing just 2 points per minute, 2.11 points per minute, and just 69 when he loses is all his opponents score, and that's over 3 UFC losses. So I assume, statistics tell me that this one's going to decision. There's a lot of unknowns with Blackshear, which makes this a bit more high variance, but the strong DraftKings defense and defensive pace of Youssef Zalal will make me kind of fade this one in general. So yeah, and Zalal never been finished in his professional career, so take note of that. However, Blackshear goes about, subbing people. Zalal has 5 submissions himself, and like I said, no finishes. So big fade on this fight in general.
Yep, I like that one as well. Weezy, how about you? What fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, at first look, it was going to be Calvillo Nunes, for the reasons that you talked about, Brady. But, in my opinion, that having parts of that fight is a great way to get different. It's a great way to get different, and that's how you take down tournaments. Is you can't just be in the pocket taking all the popular plays. You're going to have to get different every once in a while. And Calvillo Nunes is a great way to do that because, in my opinion, the narrative of behind that fight is that you really don't know where either of these ladies are right now. And what I was saying on Stat Diggers, what I was saying on Just a Tip was, would you be surprised if whoever lost that fight left their gloves in the cage? And if you wouldn't be surprised, then it's something you probably don't want to bet on. But for DraftKings purposes, if you can have a fight where you're getting leverage, where the field is ignoring it, you have shares in it, and then something happens. Like, for instance, somebody just quits out there, and then you get a finish out of somebody like Nina Nunes or Cynthia Calvillo that nobody was expecting. That's how you take down a tournament. But I'm agreeing with Monk here on the Zalal Blackshear fade. I'm not sure what to think of this fight. For one thing, we got Blackshear coming in on short notice. For another thing, we haven't seen Zalal in about almost a year at this point, and he's moving down to 135. And he's been at 145 pretty much his whole career. I don't know how he makes 135, but we need to see him on the scale. We need to make sure that Blackshear makes weight as well, because I think Blackshear's fought at 145 and had a couple of 140 catch weights in his past as well. So there's a lot of unknowns with this fight, but Zalal tends to be in slow-paced fights. Like Monk said, he's allowing just over 2 DraftKings points per minute, and he scores, I think, just a little over 3. And we don't really know what we're going to get on Blackshear, but when I watch the tape on Blackshear, for somebody who has as many submissions as he doesn't wrestle offensively. So, I mean, it just feels like that I need more information about how this fight is going to look and how these guys are going to attack this spot, and I don't have enough of it, so I feel like it's a good fade.
Sounds good right there with you. Let us move on to our fighter to fade. We will start with you, Monk. Who is your fighter to fade for this week?
Man, I mean, I can't talk about Zalal again. Weezy did a great job there backing me up on that one. I mean, Nunes, Calvillo, I would pick one of them, but again, not to ride Weezy too hard here, but those are great plays to make as far as leverage goes, possibly. So I'll give you, I don't know, Priscilla Cachoeira. I think she will be higher owned than probably either Nunes or Calvillo here. 7,500. She has made optimal in 1 out of her last 3 fights. She only scores a bit more than Youssef Zalal herself, 2.24 points a minute. Her defensive pace is garbage, giving up 5.3 points, and 117.5 is what her opponents score on average when she loses. That's over 4 UFC losses, 117 points. So I think Ariane Lipski probably has her covered pretty much everywhere here in this fight. So short of a quick knockout, win from Cachoeira, which can happen. I mean, Lipski has been finished by KO TKO twice in her UFC career, in her 4 losses, I should say, and Cachoeira has finished by KO TKO twice in her 3 wins. So, outside of that scenario happening, I think a fade on Cachoeira is probably a decent call. I will probably be targeting either, Nunes or Calvillo a bit more than Cachoeira this week.
I had the catch a beating slander. I can't believe it.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite fighters, especially if she has that blue hair. I don't know, man.
That could change things. Honestly, it's like betting on the Super Bowl. What color is the Gatorade going to be?
Yes. Yeah. What color is Catch a Beating's hair this week? Yeah, I like it. For me, I'm actually going to get pretty different. I feel like this fighter is going to be semi-popular. I'm going to go with Ode Osborne, 8,800. I think a lot of people are expecting him to go out there and knock out Tyson Nam. I mean, it could happen, but Tyson Nam, for what it's worth. Yes, he's 38 years old. Yes, he's coming off of an injury. Yes, he's not fought in a year and a half, but he is super durable. The last time he's been knocked out was back in 2013, and he's had 1 knockout loss in the last 15 years. It's been a while since he's been knocked out. And on top of that, I'm not even completely sold on Osborne. I think he absolutely should be favored. He's the younger guy. He's going to have more output, but Osborne, his cardio is not great. He has a 42% striking defense, and Tyson and Nam, for what it's worth, he does hit like an absolute truck. So I'm going to be looking to fade Osborne, getting a little bit different there. I think he probably does win, but I think he probably wins by decision here. So give me Osborne for a fade. Gordo, who are you fading for this work or for this week?
You know what? I think you could make a solid case for rostering almost everybody this week. I mean, even the person I'm fading, you guys talked about how Calvillo and Nunes, you could roster them to be different. I think if we look at someone I'm fading the most, I mean, the easy way of saying I'm going to fade Angela Hill the most, but I think we're talking about a favorite I'm looking to fade. I got to be right with you guys and talk about Youssef Salal. Despite me thinking he wins, he fights at a slow pace. I think that his win conditions most likely a decision. His opponent's unknown. We don't know what he's getting himself into. Out of all the people who are favored on DraftKings, he's the one I'm going to have the least of this week. But I mean, you can make a case for almost everybody here. I think everyone this week has some decent ceilings, some decent opportunities to score well. So let me give me some Youssef Salal as my least owned favorite.
Sounds good. And then last but not least, Weezy, what fighter are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I'm fading Lucas Bresky this week. I think this guy gets drowned, plain and simple here. Roster Bresky if you enjoy getting your ass shaved and placing at the bottom of the field. I could see Buday putting this dude up against the fence and putting him through the fence. And I could also see him picking him up and slamming him outside the cage and then climbing up on the cage and dropping a flying elbow here. I just don't see Bresky getting anything done here. I think he's going to be much smaller. He's off the gas now. Even a little bit of interesting information is that this dude had a 51-hour journey from Poland to San Diego, which is literally halfway across the world, in case you were wondering. I think it's you're talking about an 11-hour time zone difference there. So this is a situation where he got to San Diego late. He's the much smaller guy. He's off the steroids. He has the worst conditioning. He's going to be smaller. And I think that Buday is the better grappler and has more power here. So I just don't see how he wins this fight. Just roster him at your own risk, and I think Buday is going to shave his ass.
Sounds good. Looking forward to that one, Weezy. Let us move on to our favorite dog here. So favorite dog, and we will start with you, Gordo. Who's your favorite dog for this week?
So many to choose from, so many good value. Let's go main event, Dominick Cruz. He's the guy I'm looking forward to rostering this week, 7.7K. For me, he just has so much upside in the spot. And despite me, you know what, there's all those narratives about Vera being a good fighter from distance and a guy who's going to build as the fight goes on with a lot of power. Dominick Cruz has not only fought the better level of competition, but I think he's the more well-rounded mixed martial arts in the spot. I mean, we can't forget that Marlon Vera was on his way to losing a decision to Frankie Edgar. I think that Dominick Cruz could implement some wrestling. I think he could go out there, he can strike from range. He's going to be probably the better minute winner. I think aside from him being, nuked, which is definitely a possibility with the older Cruz, he can win this fight at a pretty high clip. 7.7K. I'm really liking me some Dominick Cruz.
Damn it, Gordo. I like the same thing, and
I'm sorry.
There's not really any dogs I really love this week. I mean, it's kind of ugly. So yeah, I'm going to go with the same thing, Cruz. And I also think that, I think Marlon Vera can very well finish Cruz. And I'm actually picking Marlon Vera to finish Cruz, later in the fight. But, like you said, Cruz is going to be the minute winner. Cruz does have one of the best striking defenses you'll ever see. He has that wrestling in his back pocket as well. And if this fight does get extended, even from a cash game perspective, I feel comfortable with Cruz in my lineup at 7,700. So on a card where I don't like a ton of dogs, it's got to be Cruz being my favorite. He'll probably be my highest owned dog on the entire slate. Weezy, who's your favorite dog for this week?
It is going to be Tyson Nam. Nam's very durable, like you said, Brady, and he hits very, very hard. Osborne's been finished in 3 of his 4 pro losses, and he's been finished in both of his UFC losses. I think Tyson hangs around long enough here to land a big shot and potentially stop Odie. So I think 7,400, he's got a good floor due to that durability. He could probably last the full 3 rounds, even if he does lose, even if he does get picked apart, because Odie's 8 or 9 years younger. He's got that reach advantage, that size advantage. He could potentially pick him apart from the outside, but Tyson just kind of keeps that right hand high, and he hunts you down. And it's a southpaw versus orthodox matchup too. So I do see both of these guys' power weapons being open for business, and I think I just have more faith in Tyson's ability to be able to take a power shot than Odie right now. So I'm thinking he's a pretty good option here at 7,400, and he's got a decent floor if he lasts the full 3 rounds.
I like that call. And then Monk, how about you? Who is your favorite dog?
I'm going to have to go Lucas Britton. No, I'm just kidding. No, I will agree on the Cruz thing. Just to add to that, I'll pick somebody else, but real quick, the $7,700 salary, a little salary voodoo here, has been used 67 times, made optimal 26 times, one of the highest optimal rates, 38%, has a 52% win rate, is the second best statistical salary to play overall, and it is a dog salary. So get on that Dominick Cruz if you like that this week. But I'll quickly give you Devin Clark. 7,800. He scores pretty well. Very good offensive pace. Almost 4 points a minute. 96 when he wins. The only thing I would be scared of is that flying knee from Murzakanov after Devin Clark, has whole teeth and mouth rearranged after one of his fights. I would be scared of that flying knee hitting me right in the jaw again. But Murzakanov didn't really score too well in his first UFC fight. He did get that big finish over Tafon and Chukwi in the third round. But I think Devin Clark, might be able to hold, maybe hold Murzakanov against the cage, get a nice greasy decision win, and possibly score over 90 points. And at 7,800, that could be good enough to pay off that salary and maybe make the optimal depending on the rest of the card. So give me Devin Clark for a decent dog.
Sounds good to me. All right, next we are going to do something new. We're going to add a new quick little segment in here for Prize Picks. I do want to remind you guys to, if you want to, check out Prize Picks and be sure to use promo code PubSports. Prize Picks is a very, very fun app that I do enjoy, and I am going to enjoy talking about it here with you guys. And we're all going to give like maybe one or two of your favorite picks. We did not talk about this beforehand, so it's going to be cool to see how we line up. So I'll start with you, Weezy. Was there anything that really stuck out on Prize Picks, and why do you like that?
Yeah, so there was one that Yazmin Jauregui, right?
Yep.
They've got less than 1.5 takedowns here. I think it's her opponent, Lucindo, that's going to be shooting for the takedowns here. Yazmin Jauregui does mix in takedowns, and she is a well-rounded mixed martial artist, but I don't see her going for takedowns in this matchup. If you watch the striking of Yazmin Lucindo, there would be no reason for Jauregui to try to take this fight to the ground, which is where Lucindo is going to be the most comfortable. So I don't think she even attempts a takedown, much less gets two of them. So I like that under 1.5 Yazmin Jauregui. Takedowns less than 1.5.
Love it. I had that one as well. Great reasoning as well there, Weezy. Monk, was there anything that stuck out for you on Prize Picks?
Yeah, I tell you what stuck out to me even more than Jason Witt's chin is Quinlan under 42.5 significant strikes. You think Jason Witt can take 42 significant strikes? Are you kidding me? This guy Quinlan just stopped cycling like 2 days ago. You got to be kidding me. This one is so easy for me. Under 42.5 for Quinlan. Significant strikes.
Sounds good, and I love the reasoning as well. And then Gordo, how about you? What do you like for some Prize Picks?
I love that one as well, but let's go over 3 takedowns for Lupita Godinez. I love me some Lupita Godinez. I mean, she averages 5.37 per 15 minutes in the first place. You have to think that's her path to victory against Angela Hill here. And it's a fight that's most likely to go to decision, and she's going to need takedowns to do that. 3, I think, is just a bit too low. I think she goes out there, gets 5-6, wins a dominant decision. Give me some Lupe over takedowns.
Sounds good. I had a loopy one as well, so I won't talk about that one. I'm going to go kind of on the same page as Monk here. I like the Benitez under 38.5 significant strikes. Charlie Ontiveros, probably worse durability than Jason Witt. I think one leg kick, one body kick, and Ontiveros could call it quits here. So I like that under on the Benitez 38.5. So we got the under for the Benitez significant strikes. We have the over for the loopy takedowns. We have the under for the Jauregui takedowns, and then Monk had the under for the Quinlan significant strikes there. So those 4, I like them all. You can put those 4 together and try to win some money there. So if you want to, sign up for Prize Picks using promo code PubSports. All right, guys, let's keep moving on. We have our favorite GPP play, and we will start with you, Gordo. What are you liking for GPP this week?
There's a lot to go through for GPP. I mean, I could go ahead. I could talk about Silva and Meerschaert. Meerschaert's always a GPP option, but I think one that I'm leaning towards playing in GPP is that fight I want to target is probably going to be that Gabriel Benitez side, because I do think that despite him being the most expensive fighter on the slate, you're also getting him. He's being doubted a lot this week for some reason, for my opinion. I do think his ownership is going to be a bit lower than a lot of people in the region. I think people are going to see Silva with a potential matchup against Meerschaert and lean towards him, lean towards Godinez. And I do think you're getting Godinez at a slightly discounted rate. And against Ontiveros, it's not like that quick finish, 60-second finish is out of the picture. I think they're going to swang and bang in the first round. I think a first-round finisher, Benitez on the table. I'm getting to him in GPP.
Yeah, and I agree. I think a lot of people are very low on Benitez. You know, he's been knocked out a ton at this point. But I'm with you. I like Benitez here, 9,300, very expensive, but I can see this guy getting a finish at the face-off. Like, I could see Charlie Ontiveros just quitting during the face-off on Friday. So, and that's 90 points right there. So, yeah, I like Benitez here. I think somebody gets knocked out in the first round, like I said earlier. And I do lean it towards big Benitez. Getting that knockout on Tavares has been finished 8 times, and I just don't really think it's UFC caliber. So I like Benitez quite a bit, 9,300, but I also like Bruno Silva. I also like Lupi. I like all those fighters up there. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking for GPP this week?
Man, you got to love fighting if you've been finished 8 times and you're coming back for more. Yeah, I'm going to go with, this fight, I could cheat and say both sides, but I already kind of mentioned it. The Vera and Cruz fight, we get 5 rounds with both of these guys, where their most likely path to victory is a decision, in which they both score extremely well when they win by decision. Vera scoring 97, almost 98 per decision win, and Cruz scoring 105.18 points per decision win in the UFC. Both guys, pretty much just under 3 points a minute, but when they do, and even Cruz, when he wins in general, 102 points. Vera gives up over 3 a minute. Both guys have crazy good values, 10.5 for Cruz, and he's 375 under his average. Vera is only $300 over his average. Cruz has a ton of takedown and control time points, which is the person I am technically giving you for the GPP play is Dominick Cruz. And not to mention all the salary voodoo stuff I said before. Combine that with what should be an extremely high output fight, striking wise, and could possibly be a good wrestling showcase for Dominick Cruz as well. Let's not forget, on top of that fancy footwork, he had some fancy wrestling as well. So I love the scoring upside from both guys, but especially Dominick Cruz, and the salary voodoo of the second best salary overall as a dog salary makes me even more confident.
Sounds good to me. And then Weezy, who are you liking this week for GPP?
Yeah, I like you guys calling on Benitez. I've got a little bit of inside information that he was getting his hair dyed this week, got a slight scalp burn, and tried to pull out of the fight. So if you roster Benitez, look, you got to be careful about that. It might be a last second thing, and we know that Tavares likes to dye his hair, so we got to be careful about that one. But I'm going to go with Bruno Silva. I just don't see how this guy could go 3 rounds with Alex Pereira and avoid that left hook for 15 minutes, stay alive, much less see the bell standing, and not punt Gerald Meerschaert's head into Cobb County. This thing is going to be bad for Gerald. He just gets hit way, way too much. And Bruno Silva is somebody who was on the Tiger Blood for a very long time. You can watch those old M1 and Fight Nights Global fights. They're injecting steroids into his neck as he's walking into the cage. He's gonna hurt Gerald Meerschaert if he lands a big shot early, and I think the probability of that happening is very, very high. So yeah, Silva at 9,000 seems like a bargain this week.
It absolutely does. Let us go to our favorite cash play in Gordo. We will start with you. Who are you liking for cash this week?
If it hasn't been obvious so far, I love me some Lupe Godinez this weekend. 9.2K. She's my favorite cash play. I think that she has not only that wrestling upside, but a pretty high ceiling. Pretty high floor this week, just because she has, one of the most likely fights to end inside to go to the scorecard. Sorry, I'm mumbling up my words. I'm so passionate about Lupe Godinez this weekend. Her fighter is probably one of the most likely to go to the scorecards. I think she has wrestling upside for days. As I mentioned, 5.63 takedowns landed per 15 minutes, and she's very good at what she does. Last time went out there, 129 points against Ariane Canellosi. And I'm not saying Angela Hill is Ariane Canellosi, but Angela Hill has been taken down by much people who I think are not as good as Lupe Godinez on the ground. And I do think that Lupe is able to get her there repeatedly, control time, takedown upside, decision win. I like her in cash.
Yep, great option there. I like it as well. I'm going to go with Bruno Silva here. I agree with Weezy. I think this probably ends in the very first round. It's just really hard to see Gerald Meerschaert eating many shots. You're like, Bruno Silva hits like an absolute truck. Meerschaert very slow on the feet, bad striking defense. I think Silva knocks him out like very early on. Yeah, Silva for me, 9,000. Like you said, Weezy, 9,000 does seem like a pretty big steal here. And I think he does get the early finish and puts up a huge score there. So love me some Bruno Silva. Absolutely going to have him in cash this week. Weezy, how about you? Who are you liking for cash?
Yeah, he's even better than that and cheaper is Martin Buday, who, like I said, I don't think we've ever seen anybody finish a fight by jumping off the top of the cage with a flying elbow, but we might see it this week. Or we might see somebody actually go through the cage while 300 pounds of Martin Buday is pushing them through it. I can't wait for this fight. But, and the price is right. He's cheap this week. And, I see the fight doesn't go to decision line is going the other way. I think people are thinking that this fight goes the full 15. I think exactly the opposite. If you watch this guy Bresky's gas tank, it's not good, you guys. So I do see Buday getting a finish here at below 9,000. I think it's a great value for a cash salary this week.
I like it. Yeah, like I told you earlier, Weezy, I could see Bresky like gassing out on the walkout. So, I like that one as well. I think we have Monk left, right? Monk, who do you like for cash this week?
Yes, sir. I'm going to echo Gordo. This is the best, in my opinion, the best cash play of the week is Godinez. Listen to these DraftKings numbers. First of all, this is her 6th fight since January 1st of 2021. I believe that's the most out of any fighter in the UFC. She's fighting once every 90 days on average. 4.26 points a minute for Godinez. 114.12 per win, the highest number on the entire card. That's over 3 wins. Her defensive pace, allowing just 1.61 a minute, best on the card. Her offense, her opponents score 64 when she loses, the best number on the card. She has the best DraftKings differential on the card. I mean, 9.5 value, $280 over her average. She scores almost 3 points a minute in takedowns and control time, and Angela Hill gives up plenty of those herself. Her strength of schedule is pretty damn good, and she's put up 127 and 129 in 2 of her past 4 fights. Guys, it's Godinez all day. I don't see how Angela Hill's going to win this. I saw somebody in the comments saying Angela Sam Alvey Hill going for that record. Give me Lupita Godinez as the cash play. It's. I mean, I'd be shocked if she lost this fight. The only way she loses this is if a judge gives this a split decision to Angela Hill in a terrible judgment. But that's the only way I see her losing this fight.
Sounds good to me. All right, let's get to our value play. Weezy, we'll start with you. Who are you liking for some value this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys already covered it pretty well, but Dominick Cruz, this is an interesting matchup for him. We've seen Vera have opponents that will fight the kind of fight that Vera wants them to fight, Dominick Cruz is not going to be easy to find. He's never easy to find. He moves laterally. You want to talk about one of the best fight IQs in the history of the sport? Dominick Cruz absolutely has it. He is a very cerebral fighter. He's modeled his entire career on not taking damage, on fighting a style that would allow him to have longevity. And not only has that style worked for him, he's 24-3. I mean, this guy's been fighting at the highest level for a very, very long time, over 15 years. So I think that this is a good matchup for him, honestly. It's going to be hard for him to avoid the big shot from Marlon Vera for 25 minutes. But Marlon Vera's, a Muay Thai style striker. He's gonna be stationary. And if he does that and he just kind of plods forward, he's going to have a very hard time finding Dominick Cruz. And we all know that that Vera is a slow starter. So if he gives Dominick a couple of rounds early here, and then Dom keeps moving and he uses that conditioning that he's known for, mixes in that wrestling, which Marlon Vera doesn't have the best takedown defense either. I think that there's paths for Dominick Cruz to win a decision here, and if he fights a smart game plan, and if he is his usual cerebral self that's very defensively sound, I think he could score at least 50 points here, even in a losing effort. So I think it's a good dog play for this week. Great value, and it's a 5-round fight.
Absolutely, very good one there. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking for some value this week?
Give me Gerald Meerschaert, just because if Bruno Silva, in all the lineups I don't have Silva in, I'll probably have a good percentage of Meerschaert. Like I said, I don't think this one goes to the distance. If Silva doesn't win, it's probably going to be Meerschaert by sub. I mean, the guy scores well, over 3 points a minute. He's $600 under his average, scores over 1.15 points per minute in takedowns and control time, has a very good strength of schedule, and has landed takedowns. Unlike one Paul Craig in the past, this guy Meerschaert has landed 5 takedowns in his past 3 fights. Silva has terrible, not terrible, but is under 70% takedown defense. Let's see, was taken down, I guess, only one of his UFC fights 7 times by Mr. Andrew Sanchez. So it is possible, I guess if Meerschaert gets the win, it's probably a finish, and that's going to be some great value. And at 7,200, that makes the optimal every 3 out of 4 wins. And Meerschaert himself has made optimal in 2 of his past 4 fights. So there is some decent value here if things go Gerald's way.
Sounds good. I like it. For me, I'm going to go with David Onama here at 8,600. I mean, this pricing just makes no sense. He's minus 310 on the money line, which makes him the 3rd biggest favorite on the entire card. So in reality, he should probably be around like 9,000, but we're getting him at 8,600. He has a 100% finish rate. Landwehr's been finished in 3 of his 4 losses. Landwehr's been knocked out twice in the UFC, once by Herbert Burns, once by Julian Erosa. If Onama wins this fight, it's probably going to be inside the distance. So I do like me some Onama, 8,600. He should be a much, much wider favorite, at least on DraftKings. Do I really agree with him being minus 300? Not really, but from a DraftKings perspective, I do think, especially if you're looking at those odds, Onama should be a bigger favorite here. Sorry, there's a spider on my wall. It's freaking me out. But yeah, give me some David Onama. Gordo, how about you while I kill this spider?
Well, while you kill this spider, I'm scared to see your lineup later because Onama was my pick as well. It seems like we're looking eye to eye on a few of them. But let's get a bit different here. I do like Onama. I do think that he has that round 1 knockout upside. I do think he has the ability to exceed that 8.6K price tag. But you know what? On the other side of things, exact same fight, Nate Landwehr could also look like a lot of value at 7.6K because despite him being a pretty big underdog, if he survives that early onslaught, his pressure, his forward style just seems to score pretty well in DraftKings. I think he's a guy who has the ability to go out there and drown a David Onama who, you know what, hasn't really been dragged into that deep of water, who's still relatively new to the UFC, who's going to be less experienced than Nate Landwehr. So I think despite me originally being on the same side as Brady and wanting to take Onama as my value pick, I'm going to go that Nate Landwehr side because if he survives that first round and looks to drag it into deep waters, he should exceed value at 7.6K.
Sounds good. And by the way, I did finish the spider just like Gabriel Benitez is going to finish Charlie Ontiveros this Saturday in the very first round. Let's keep moving on. We have our dart throw. We will start with you, Weezy. Who are you liking for a dart throw this week?
Yeah, just like the spider who's going to come back from the dead and kill you, Brady, I'm going with the American bad boy, born on the 4th of July, Charlie motherfucking Ontiveros. Give it up, y'all. No, actually, I'm not. I'm going to go with Azamat Murzakanov this week as a dart throw. $8,400, so he's above average on salary. But I see why people think that Devin Clark's going to win this fight. And I don't think it's a bad bet, to be honest with you. But Murzakanov is so dangerous early. And if you go and you watch the tape on Devin Clark, what's the one thing that he does in the first round of every UFC fight that he's in? He gets hurt, and hurt badly. You know, I mean, even in the fights that he wins, he almost dies. So I kind of feel like Murzakonov's being a little bit overlooked this week. His salary is a little bit cheaper than what you're probably going to see at most of the time. And he's very, very explosive. So I'm going to try to hit a home run here at 8,400 with Murzakanov because I think that his best win condition here is landing a big shot early on Devin Clark and finishing this fight. And if he does that, I think he's going to be optimal.
I like it. I like that one a lot. Gordo, how about you? Who are you liking as a dart throw?
In my eyes, there's only one dart throw this week. It is Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, the guy's path to victory scores very, very well. We just saw Silva controlled for a few rounds by a guy in Sanchez, but you know what? Let's face it. Reality is Silva has the power to put this guy's lights out just as fast as Kazmat Chimaev did. Could be no contest at all. That being said, I mean, a dart throw is all about upside. It's all about ownership. I think ownership is going to head towards the Silva side, despite GM3 being a fan favorite. And I think that GM3 is going to have the ability to go out there and execute his game plan if he's able to survive. It's a big if, but he's my dart throw. His ceiling is insane at 7.2K. That first round finish is not off the table. Give me a nice little Makhmed Muradov performance and let me see the big underdog do well this week.
Sounds good. I like it. For me, I'm going to go with Yazmin Jauregui. 8,700. She's a beast. She's only 23 years old. She's an absolute savage. She's 8-0, and the majority of those are by finish. I think she's like 5 or maybe 6 knockouts. She hits very hard. She throws a ton of volume. And if this fight does take place on the feet, if she's able to stuff the takedowns from Lucindo, she's going to have a massive advantage. And I think she could really hurt Lucindo here. So yeah, I like Jauregui here, 8,700. I don't think many people are going to touch this fight, but I actually think it has some sneaky finish upside. Both fighters very, very good finishes there. So I'll take her. 8,700. I don't think she'll be very popular at all. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as a dart throw?
I mean, this guy, according to all of the internet, is going to have less than 5% ownership, and that's going to be the vanilla gorilla, Jason Witt. For sure, there's got to be some value on the dart throw. I don't care what his salary is; it's probably going to be extremely low. But maybe USADA has been testing Quinlan so much that they haven't tested Witt, and maybe he took some of that stuff, and his chin will be a little bit stronger. But are we really going to put all of our ducats on a guy who had to do steroids to win a Dana White Contender Series fight? Like, come on, man. There's huge question marks with this guy that's never been in a UFC fight, and Jason Witt does have 2 UFC wins, even if one of them was against Takashi Sato and Matt Semmelsberger. But still, sorry, those are the fights he lost. I was going to say if one of them was against Cole Williams, I should say. But Witt scores well, almost 5 points a minute, 106 on average when he wins. For a dart throw, I'll be well over the field on Jason Witt, because who knows, Quinlan could be an absolute fraud. We have no idea. Let's see what he looks like under the watchful eye of USADA.
Sounds good to me. All right. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. Also, if you have any questions in the chat, be sure to put them in the chat, and we will get to them very shortly. But first, we have to go over our lineups for this week or last week, and then we'll talk about our lineups for this week. So last week, in last place was me with Terrence McKinney, 104, Ola Zaychuk, 124, Jamal Hill, 86, Sato, 0.8, Sakai 5.09, and Miranda Granger 5.5 with 326.69. I had Muhammad Usman in my lineup all week, and then once those 2 fights got off, I had to put freaking Sato and Sakai in there, so shit the bet on that one. In third place was Gordo with Terrence McKinney 104, Jamal Hill 86, Spivak 135, Brogan Walker 23, Sato 8, and then Miranda Granger 5.55. In second place was Monk, Terrence McKinney 104, Ola Zaychuk 124, Luque 38, Edgar 10, Usman 85, and Santos 62. And then in first place was Weezy, McKinney 104, Hill 86, Spivak 135, Walker 23, Neal 120, and then Granger 5.5. Congratulations, Weezy, you got first place.
Yeah, I know that Jeff Neal had a lot to do with that. Granger just didn't get the job done, and I wanted to say again, because I've been saying it all week, congratulations to Corey McKenna. I mean, bringing that correct game plan out there. She grew a lot since the last loss, and she looked like what we expected her to look like against Elise Reed. So, yeah, obviously Granger didn't score a lot of points getting dominated by Corey like that. And, yeah, and I'm pretty sick to my stomach about the Brogan Walker pick because, man, she got absolutely drowned by Juliana Miller. And shout out Juliana Miller. Man, did she look good. So, yeah, just happy to get one, though. It's been a minute since you guys have let me win, so I appreciate you. And I'll go back to the back of the line now for the next month or so while you guys shave my ass.
Sounds good. We will be sure to hopefully do that this week, but we'll go over the totals here. We are 27 cards in for the year, so getting up there. In fourth place is Monk with 10,817 DraftKings points. In third place is Weezy with 11,016 DraftKings points. And second place is me with 11,395 DraftKings points. And then first place is Gordo, 11,643. I am 248 behind Gordo. Weezy is 627 behind Gordo. And then Monk is 826 behind Gordo. Gordo, you are still in first place.
For how long? You know what? Every week I'd say it. I'm gonna switch my lineup. I'll switch it later. I always forget to. My Iron Man lineup scored a lot better, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into it. Let's have some fun this week.
Yep, let's have some fun, and then I will probably be changing my lineup for this week, honestly. But right now, I will be going with Dominick Cruz, Jauregui, give me Onama, give me Silva, Vera doing the stack there as of now, and then Ketchup beating. Weezy, do you have your lineup for this week?
Yeah, I do. Up top, we're going to go with Bruno Silva, Martin Buday, David Onama, Azamat Murzakanov, Don Cruz, and Tyson Nam.
Okay, Monk, how about you? Do you have your lineup for this week?
Yes, sir. We're going to go Gabriel Benitez, Bruno Silva, Martin Buday, Dominick Cruz, Nate Landwehr, and Tyson Nam.
And Gordo, how about you?
I think just like you guys, I'm waiting for that Witt versus Quinlan salaries to come out, and that will change. But for right now, Gabriel Benitez, Devin Clark, Dominick Cruz, Godinez, David Onama, and GM3, Gerald Meerschaert.
Sounds good. And let's answer some questions and then give our quick picks here. Gabriel saying, what do you guys think of the over 1.5 in the Buday fight? Yeah, that's a very popular play. I'm actually on Violence. I think the over could hit, but it's going to be pretty greasy. I just don't think Bresky has the best gas tank. Weezy, I know you have a lot of invested in that fight. Probably a question for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be homeless if Buday doesn't get this win. But and then today I was alerted to the fact that it was minus 140 for the fight doesn't go to decision for this fight, and I was gonna go bet that. And by the time I got to it, it was already minus 125, an even better price. So I bet 2.5 units on that, and now it went to minus 120. The over 1.5 I can see hitting because with Buday it's kind of like a slow burn. He is gonna try to put you up against that cage and wear you down. But if your conditioning isn't there and if you're not on his size level, that could happen very quickly. And Buday is a monster if he gets on top of you. So, I think it will be very, very sweaty over 1.5. And keep in mind that these fights I can even give you the heavyweight over 1.5 analytics here. Let me get that for you guys.
Yeah, and the over 1.5 is pretty juiced. It got smashed. It opened up at plus 120. Yeah, I would love it there. But it is now minus 175, minus 200, like minus 180. So yeah, it is pretty juiced.
And over 1.5 happens 56.38% of the time on heavyweight fights that are 3 rounds. So that's around a minus 135 implied probability. So keep that in mind. That's the benchmark.
So overpaying a little bit, right?
Yep, just a little bit.
All right, Gordo, do you have a bet on that over 1.5? I know a lot of people do.
No, I'm with Weezy. I'm waiting for the line to keep moving. I'm going to take the fight doesn't go if it gets anywhere near plus money.
Yeah, I bet it as well. And then like an hour later, it gets like minus 120. I'm like, what's going on? But looks like it actually just got bet down to minus 135. So we'll see what happens. Weird line move on that one. And then look at this on a bet online, the fight doesn't go to decision is minus 265.
It doesn't make any sense. That makes more sense than minus 120. Heavyweight fights are finishing inside the distance 63% of the time. You're talking about minus 160, minus 165 benchmark right about there. So the fact that you're getting minus 120 and, you got Bresky who's coming off a steroid suspension, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Weird, just weird. But I think we covered pretty much everything in here. What is up, Mushroom? Looking for some violence? I hope so. We got a lot of violence last week. We got a little spoiled, but hopefully the violence carries on to UFC San Diego. Guys, last thing we have to do here is give our fight picks. I will kick us off. Give me Marlon Vera, the main event. David Onama, Murzakanov, Nunes, Bruno Silva, Lupita Godinez, Jauregui, Buday, Benitez, Zalal, Osborne, Quinlan, and Lipsky. Weezy, you have your quick picks for this week.
Yes, sir. We're going to go with Marlon Vera in the main event, David Onama, Bruno Silva, Azamat Murzakanov, Cynthia Calvillo. I have a 2-unit bet on the Yazmin Jauregui money line. I've got a 4.5 unit bet on the Martin Buday money line. That's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Benitez. I'm going to do I want to pick Tyson now for the? No, I'll just pick Odi Osborne, Lupita Godinez, Yusuf Zalal. I'm going to pick Jason Witt to win by decision, and I'm going to pick Ariane Lipsky.
Sounds good. Monk, how about you? What are your picks for this week?
Computer Monk got a couple dogs this week. Ariane Lipsky, Josh Quinlan, Yusuf Zalal, Lupita Godinez, Tyson Nam, Gabriel Benitez, who he has at a 94% chance to win this fight over Ontiveros. Somehow picking Lucas Bresky. I have no idea what's going on there. Ooh. Yazmin, Jauregui, Cynthia Calvillo, Azamat Murzakanov, Bruno Silva, David Onama, and Marlon Vera.
Yeah, there you go. And then Gordo, how about you? What are your picks for this week?
We're taking Dominick Cruz in the main event. David Onama, Yazmin Jauregui. I can't say that as well as you guys. Devin Clark, Bruno Silva, Ariane Lipsky, Lupita Godinez, Martin Buday, Nina Nunes, Gabriel Benitez, Ode Osborne, Yusuf Zalal, and Josh Quinlan.
There we go. All right, guys, we did it. All that is left to do is let the people know where they can find you. We'll start with you, Weezy. Let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week. And I believe you are going live tonight after the club and sub for some Ask Weezy.
That's right. Ask Weezy tonight, 10:30 Central Time on the Uncle Weezy YouTube channel. You can also find me on the MMA Engine YouTube channel every Monday night with Brady for Probability. And you can also find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday for Stack Diggers, every Wednesday for the DFS show, and every Saturday for the watch along. Although I won't be watching along this Saturday, I will be in Michigan. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining us, and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC San Diego.
Let's stack them up. Extra syrup, extra butter. Monk, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little bit late on content this week, but I've been waiting for salaries. I was surprised we did not get all the salaries today, but I was informed that Wit fight just got made official today. So look for Game Theory. Salary Voodoo will also be out first thing in the morning, if not tonight, on the MMA Engine. Be sure to check that out. Me, Weezy, Brady, and Lou giving you guys content several days a week before every single UFC card. And be sure, if you're not watching now, rewind this for Pub Sports Radio. Hit that like button as well. And I hope you guys all enjoy the fights on Saturday. Let's go.
Let's go. Frank's saying it should be called Ass Weezy instead of Ask We. I don't know about that. I think you might get kicked off of YouTube, but I like it.
I love it, though. I love it.
Ass We. There we go. Gordo, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the rest of the week.
Oh, I love Frank. Anyways, you can find me anywhere on Twitter at GamblesGordo, and my YouTube is at Plays and Fades Sports. It's where I'll have a DFS breakdown up shortly. I will have a Dana White Contender Series breakdown every Monday night. And then I'll be lucky enough to go to Salt Lake City to watch the fights next week. So I'll make sure to put out I just actually got official notice. I got a really nice panel for a breakdown next week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel at Plays and Fades Sports.
Oh shit! What a card you get to go to next week. That card is legit. So there you go. Yeah, guys, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, here on Pub Sports Radio Sundays and Wednesdays, on the MMA Engine on Mondays, and on DFS by the numbers on YouTube as well. Lots of content throughout the week. So check me out. Check out these guys as well. Best of luck for UFC San Diego. Let us make some money. And